Joining us right now is Jim DeFede, the host of Facing South Florida. And Jim, Fidel Castro, dead for a number of years, but still a hot topic here in South Florida. What does this mean, not just for this debate between the Bernie people and the other people? What does it mean for Democrats down ballot?
Sure.
Are they worried about this?
They are, and they have reason to be. You know, this is one of the issues that you get with Bernie Sanders at the top of the ticket. So this complicates a race that Debbie Murkazal-Powell and Donna Shalala have in their respective districts in South Florida. Typically, you wouldn't have to be saying this, but now they have to both figure out a way to straddle the line. They have to repudiate what Bernie Sanders said, while at the same time not alienating his supporters so that they don't not turn out for them in the election. I think one of the things that you're going to see these campaigns have to start triangulating a little bit. I think that if Bernie Sanders ends up being the nominee at the top of the ticket, you're almost going to see where they're going to cede the presidency to Donald Trump in a very serious sort of way in terms of their campaigns, and say, look, he may get reelected. So what you need to do is you need to make sure the House remains in Democratic control. So you need to vote for me if I'm Debbie Murkazal-Powell, or me if I'm Donna Shalala, as a way of buttressing against what may happen with Bernie Sanders at the top of the ticket.
Okay, and it's not just the issue of Cuba, but another issue that's very resonant here in Florida, and South Florida in particular, is Israel and comments he's made about Israel.
Yeah, and right now, on Sunday, he announced that he was not attending the AIPAC conference. AIPAC is the major lobbying group on behalf of the state of Israel. It has always been a bipartisan affair where Democrats and Republicans and independents go and speak at AIPAC. Bernie Sanders issued a statement saying that he would not attend the AIPAC conference this year, and that because he considers their stance with regard to Palestinians as being bigoted. You're already seeing blowback from some of the South Florida delegations. Ted Deutsch issued a statement that we have that came out, and where he's basically sort of saying that Bernie Sanders is wrong not to try to engage on the issue. He's planning on attending the AIPAC meeting. So again, you start getting the sense of the difficulties that you're going to have if Bernie Sanders is indeed at the top of the ticket in South Florida. That doesn't mean that Bernie Sanders can't win the presidency across the country. You know, you have movements like Bernie Sanders, they energize a lot of people, but South Florida is Casablanca in a lot of ways. It's very different in how those comments will play down here.
Yeah, right about that. We are different. Let's widen this out. If we have a race between Donald Trump and Bernie Sanders, what type of race do you foresee?
Well, I sort of was touching on that a second ago. The notion that Bernie Sanders is a movement candidate, in the same way that Donald Trump was a movement candidate. Donald Trump was able to speak and galvanize a lot of people who felt disaffected, who felt on the outside, on the fringes. As a result, you saw the rallies that Donald Trump had. There are no Democrats in 2020 holding large-scale rallies except for Bernie Sanders. So what you're really seeing are the two extremes of the parties, sort of the divide that exists from the far left to the far right, and it's almost indicative of where we are as a country. And it's, you know, I don't know where the center ends up going in this case, but you're seeing two candidates with a lot of groundswell of support on their side, a lot of energy to mobilize people. Last point I'll make about Bernie Sanders, what he's banking on is young voters. The young voters today, the millennials, they tend not to vote as a duty. They vote only when they fall in love. Young voters have fallen in love with Bernie Sanders, and that's how he believes he can get people to the poll and the Democrats can win.
And a lot of people underestimated the Trump movement the last time. So
I don't make predictions anymore.
All right. Thank you, Jim.
Thanks.